All right. Well, welcome to week 3, Lost Caverns of Ixalan League. We're here with our first match of the night. We got Chris York, the one and only, sitting in on commentary for this particular match. And we got Paul S., a young chunk here, taking a mulligan against Kevin I. What do you see in his hand, Mr. York?
Well, I see an Echo of Dusk, a rampaging Spiketail, Walk with the Ancestors, and to round it all out, Polanyi's Hatcher,
Ooh, that's a
which
nice one.
is obviously like the standout here.
Oh yeah, I think
Um,
just one of the best cards in the set, like top 5, if not
so what I
higher.
what I predict is that turn 2 we're going to see Echo of Dusk followed by a cycled Spiketail,
Okay.
just trying to get into that Polanyi's Hatcher, and he just drew a mountain, so he's getting closer.
Okay. Paul does not have any answer to any of that. He has a Triumphant Chomp, which is that spell that can deal 2 damage or damage equal to your dinosaur, highest powered dinosaur. He may opt to do that this turn. He may opt to play as tap land. He has a Promising Vein, a Mountain, Hidden Volcano, which is the red tap land. He has the Chomp. He has Waylaying Pirates and a Charter Course. So,
If
you
he
know,
chomps this Echo, then I think he's in pretty good shape because there's not much happening in Kevin's hand for the next few turns.
yeah,
Yeah.
not having a 3-drop that he needs to cast in hand, he can just play his tap on next turn, perhaps, and not be too far behind. I mean, once he sees the Hatcher, he'll know what's up, but for now, he is blissfully ignorant to that potentially being in his future. Yeah, both these players
Yeah.
have been in future matches so far this league. They've yet to win one, but Kevin is doing very well. Like this is the best league that he's had, I think, up to date at 12-7 right
Oh
here.
yeah.
So he has been doing excellent. Look forward to seeing what his deck can do. I know he was facing you last week, I think, and
Yeah, I did.
you're able
Yeah,
to
he did.
take the win off of him. Yeah, so not too much going
I
on.
I'm kind of confused why he didn't cycle the Spike Tail there. I guess he hopes to play it.
I mean, if he has a 5th land in hand,
He does now.
I mean,
Yeah.
uh, I mean,
I
it's
guess
one
he's
it's
not
one land
far
away
off.
from casting it. So,
Yeah.
right, so he's got the little wand of
Fair enough.
glyph here, able to do some work.
So he's got Walk with the Ancestors, Polanyi's Hatcher, and still that Spike Tail, which I guess he's hoping to play for fun and profit.
And
But I assume that
yeah,
the Hatcher's out here
I mean,
next
Walk
turn.
with the Ancestors is just a second copy of Polani's Hatcher if it dies, right? Like that's devastating. And Paul is going to be probably sighing here because he does not have anything effective here. He has a bunch of pretty okay cards, just not okay in this spot. The Waylaying Pirates, which can tap something
Yeah.
down. In the meantime, from those charter courses and his turns, he's drawn a Mountain, Itali's Favor, Plundering Pirate, the 3-2 that makes a treasure, and Scampering Surveyor, the 3-2 that'll ramp you a land, the artifacts. But basically, this Planet Satcher is going to dominate the board until further notice. Uh,
Yeah. This could be a very quick game.
it's just a ridiculous card. You pay 5 mana as long as it survives. Like, you're almost always going to get the first 3-3 unless opponent has an instant speed answer. So it's if it survives to the next turn, you get 11 power for your 5 mana. Like, what in the world? What in the world?
Okay, so
Spike
just
Tail.
drew. Oh, here's a new draw that
Oof.
he's
Yeah.
playing.
And I mean
This is going to be a pretty desperate fight.
the spike tail comes down with haste too, right? Because of the Polani Satcher. So whenever he
Yep,
does cast that spike tail, it's gonna be attacking immediately.
that's
So
pretty gross.
just a brutal turn of events here. It's like this is one
Yeah,
of those bombs. It's just like it's almost impossible to answer, honestly.
he's offering it up, but it's already done the work of hatching both the eggs.
Yeah, the
Um,
the only reason to keep it around is to give your spike tail haste, but I think he's gonna be at an okay spot even without that. So is he just offering up the 2-3 here as a free, or does he have a trick?
no,
No,
he's
okay.
offering it up. He's just trying to put as much damage in as he can.
Well, that
Maybe he senses
paleontologist
that.
can recast dinosaurs from your graveyard. So, um,
Yep,
the
maybe he's going to
wreckage
get
has kind of
a
settled here, and not to use an Ixalan pun, but like Paul's looking. I mean, his life total's low, but he has a couple of things in hand he can play. the Scampering Surveyor and the Spyglass Siren he just drew, which could help him block. But yeah, he's definitely behind. The Polani's Hatcher can be cast out of the graveyard now with the Paleontologist. Um, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, he has the 7 mana to do it. So it'll cost him 7 mana, 2 to exile and 5 to play. So
It's worth every penny.
yeah, that's a particularly brutal follow up. That's the reason why he offered up his Hatcher. He said, "Oh, I could go dig another one up," and he has the Walk with
Yeah,
Ancestors in his hand. So the
yeah.
hatching will never
Kevin's
stop. I think Paul's realizing it. He
Kevin's
took a read at the paleontologist there, and he might have read the bad news for himself.
yeah. He's brought a gun to the ANI fight.
Well, it looks like he just kind of brought a yeah. Yeah. Kevin has. He's brought an egg to a rope fight, I guess, with the waylaying pirates over there. So the tapping of the
Gosh,
paleontologist has delayed the arrival of the Polani's Hatcher this turn, but he can still bring back
he's
the
so
little
fun.
baby dino and kill this
Isn't
waylaying
that?
pirates and attack for 8.
Yeah,
Little baby dino.
Baby
Yeah.
Dino gets it done.
Yeah, just well, I could see how he's getting his wins here. I can see. Yeah,
Yeah,
Paul doesn't need to show any more cards. He drew another Atali's Favor, which would show another card. He said, Polani's Hatcher's coming, and I want no part of this. So, yeah, just really scary looking deck over there from
yeah. Not to be deterministic about it, but from first blush, it just looked like Kevin had the nuts in his hand, right? Just great
yeah.
cards and ways to ramp to get them out.
Yeah, so Paul's
Um,
going with a really low to the ground, aggressive leaning red blue deck here. He has 4 copies of Atali's Favor. He has a bunch of a bunch of cheap creatures and not too much on the top end. He's really trying to get on board and get ahead that way. Um, and really he's siding out a couple of he might be siding into another deck here. He's basically starting to side out everything. I was gonna say he's siding out his little shocks, his little two damage to creature spells, but he's actually siding out everything. So he might be going for a rebuild here. So we might have a few minutes to discuss that. What's Kevin's sideboarding looking like?
he's done.
Well, he's
Obviously,
set.
the first game went swimmingly, and not much needed to be changed. Just kind of run it back and see if Paul has any sort of stronger opposition.
Yeah, he didn't really
He
see
might
enough
change
to
in
know that
three
he
if
needed to
he.
side in something. Maybe an artifact, maybe like a card that kills artifacts, just because he's playing blue red, which is going to be heavy in artifacts. But it looks like Paul's siding into black here, uh, bringing in
Hmm.
a couple rares here. Stalactite Stalker, the little 1/1 menace. He Corpses of the Lost, which is the rare that can make skeletons. Tarian's Journal, which is another rare. Llanowar Green Widow from Dominaria United. He's got a Deep Cavern Bat, which is one of the top uncommons in the set. So looks like he's going into
He's
green black
forgetting
here. He's doing a
his life.
complete change. He says, I can't go under this deck. It's just too powerful. So I need to go I need to kill stuff. I need to have cheap removal, which he has dead weight, bone splinters, 2 tithing blades. He says, I need to do that, and I need to go over the top of this because I can't
Mhm.
go under it. So
What I mean, do you think that he's got the goods here? Is he siding in what he needs to side in order to triumph, or is he going to be trampled again by Kevin's deck? Do you think?
I mean, we'll see.
If you had to, if you're a betting man.
I mean, this deck depends. This deck defends itself a little better, right? It's a little more defensive, a little more reactive. The other
Mm.
deck was more, proactive. But the bodies Kevin was putting on board and the efficiency at which he was doing so, there was just no way that Paul could get a board advantage. So, like I said, he's trying to maybe extend the game a bit, deal with a couple of the threats, and be the last man standing here. He's got a Skullspore Nexus up at the top of his curve, that mythic that makes tokens when things die. He's yeah, like I said, some nice removal. 2 Join the Deads, Huatli's Strike, the 2 Tithing Blades, like I mentioned, Deadweight. So 2 copies of
Yeah,
another chance to buy stuff back. Just trying to be more resilient deck here than the blue red, which was kind of very one note. It was just play cheap creatures, try to attack, and not much on the top end. So basically, if your opponent gets to turn 6-7,
Yeah.
you're probably drawing a 2-drop, and they might be drawing their bomb. So
Both these players, league regulars. Kevin's obviously riding higher. It looks like Paul's been kind of struggling to get his matches in.
he's six
He's
seven right
wait,
now. So which is a bit below
yeah,
where you want to be. I think he made
yeah.
his minimum last week, and he needs a few here this week. But he can start turning this around. It's not too late. Uh, you know, so yeah, he's siding in his lands now. So he's up to 58 cards. So he's just deciding on the last couple includes here. I see he's put one Ray of Ruin in his deck, which is the clunky 5-mana exile. He has another one in his sideboard. Um, I think when you see something as good as Polania's Hatcher, you just want as many ways to get it off the board as you can. So even though
Yeah, of
that spell's
course. And
not premium, I'd be tempted to bring it in just as yet another answer to that card. And it
he didn't
actually
just see the hatchery
exiles.
as a way to recruit it, right?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
saw a way to get it back to the graveyard, and Kevin had another one in hand that we didn't even see. So Paul made some observations and said, "I need to go with this deck." This is, I believe, when he was playing. He played a couple feature matches earlier, week 1 and week 2, and he was at least playing green. I think he was playing like a Sultai deck. So we have seen a version of this because I remember him having the Skullspore Nexus for sure, and the Llanowar Green Widow, which is a from Dominaria United, 3-mana 4/3 with reach and trample, and then
That's
you
a good
can
one.
get it back into play from your graveyard. You pay
I
eight
remember it well.
minus, so you pay 8 mana minus your domain. So in his deck, it would be 6 mana. He's also splashing, and he has it in his opening hand for Malcolm, which you might be familiar with from one of your matches earlier today.
Looks like we might be. Oh no, I thought we were
Okay.
going to be mulliganing, but we're not.
All right.
We've
So
kept a one lander. This might be quick in the other direction.
Paul's got a 2-lander, but he's got two castable spells here. He's got the Tendril, and he's got a Skullcap Snail.
Okay, looks like we might be
Okay.
saved. He's got
Does he have a mana dork? Oh, okay, the marionette.
he has two Jade Light Spelunkers,
Okay, wow,
so it looks like
two.
he might be able to draw into some lands and
Yeah,
save himself
he
there.
he milled 2 lands here, but so Paul's gonna get on the attack here. He's not gonna offer up the Tendril of the Myco Tyrant. It looks like, but I think I would. Yeah, yeah. If you're attacking with one, you're attacking with the other. So blocking the 3/2 means that the enchantment won't trigger to go back to hand.
Here we go, dead weight.
Okay. So what else is in
So
his
now
hand?
we have two Spelunkers, right, which are going to hopefully draw him out of being land screwed.
Right.
He's got a Cavern Stomper, which I think can be cycled, and
Cavern
after that,
Stomper?
he's got
No, that one does not have
no.
cycling.
That's
Is that
that's not the cycler.
the
Sorry,
6-mana 7/7?
it is. Yeah.
No, that's not the
Okay,
one
here
in
we go with
cycler.
the first Spelunker.
Yeah,
So we
X
got
equals
one chance.
one.
Oh
Okay.
no,
Well,
no.
that's getting dumped.
Yeah.
And
So that's missing his first land drop there, and I think maybe he's hoping to draw into a third land, so he can get two more looks in the top of his library for the second Splunker.
yeah,
Really leaning on them to try to save him in this position.
yeah. I'm never really into keeping one-landers unless I've mulliganed already. So
Yeah, that did seem bold.
yeah,
I was
well,
very surprised.
got to go for it sometimes. But yeah, usually I probably mulligan more than most. There's probably hands that I mulligan that I shouldn't, but I think that would go in the should mulligan pile uh,
I
in
mean,
most
to be fair, the
cases.
rest of his hand is heat. He's got the Cavern Stomper, he's got the Hatcher, he's got Goreclaw, he's got
Goreclaw, okay,
Glistening
that's
Dawn.
fun.
Yeah, and he's
Glistening
got
Dawn, wow.
Stinging Cave Cleaner.
So he's
Yeah,
got he's
yeah, I
got
know.
bombs on bombs here, but Paul's got the board
No
presence
land
and
to
he's
play.
got a Malcolm to
Okay,
to,
here
to
we go.
flash in here.
We're
He's
saved.
yeah, he's got a
Hopefully.
Malcolm to flash in here. He's got a Corpses of the Lost back in hand. He's got a Ray of Ruin for if that Hatcher or some other big threat ever comes down, and he's got a Rampaging Spiketail in hand. So
Oh my god. Got the
Paul's
got
got
the
good
mountain to
plays.
play the Hatcher.
Okay, well there is a
I
Ray of Ruin in hand to welcome that Hatcher.
Okay.
So Paul's got an interesting
I'm
choice
assuming that
here.
Gorklaw is the next. Yeah.
So yeah, Paul's got an interesting choice here, whether he wants to play Corpses of the Lost or his Hulking Raptor, which is that rare that gives you mana and your at the beginning of your main phase. Yeah, he gets to loot here. So it looks like
Malcolm
he's gonna
starts
play.
out
It looks like
innocuous.
he's gonna play the Hulking Raptor because he did not play the Corpses of the Lost to an attack with it.
Hmm. And Malcolm's fairly innocuous here. Doesn't really need to be dealt with immediately um, by Kevin, but
I mean,
as you know, once it hits 4 counters, it gets kind of abusive.
I don't want
You
to
start
take
playing
two and
from
have my opponent loot. I would want to answer that as soon as I possibly can. Like that, the looting itself is a huge advantage. Like yeah, the fourth part
is.
of it is obviously completely insane, but just on rate, it's a wildly busted card. So we'll see if
Okay, so
Paul gets baited to use his removal here on Goreclaw, and he's dragging it he's dragging it onto the stack here, and he might get a rude awakening next turn from the Hatcher.
well, I mean, the Hatcher was down to 3 mana casting cost, so
So he does need to
Goreclaw
hit
was kind of making it affordable. He needs to get a land, yeah.
he does need to hit a land, but it's a
Mm.
pretty favorite to do so. So he's just soaking up damage here. He says, just let me not take this damage. I want my Hatcher, and I want to be at as much life total as possible. But Paul's not making it easy. He drew the spider off of the loot there.
Okay, so we just draw Poison, Dart Frog. We also have maybe we're going to see the Cave Crawler, or no, he's playing Akawali, I think. The Seething Flower.
The 3/3. Oh no, Poison Dart Frog. That does trade with Malcolm,
Wasn't
but
it?
he'll have to take 10 in order to do that. Actually,
Right.
more than that because of the Corpses of the Lost. So
Pretty costly. He
he might
gosh.
just have to trade with
This,
the 5/3 to minimize damage rather than Malcolm.
yep.
Not sure what Paul just has one play, which is to play this Corpses of the Lost. He drew a Skull Cap Stale, but he only has one black source, so he's just going to the attack all option here. Yeah, there you go.
Right.
He sells Kevin. You could take any one of my creatures out. Like I said, it's going to be the big one because I mean he's still decimated here, taking
Basically,
10.
we're seeing the exact opposite of game one, which might prompt Kevin to either, you know, rebuild a bit or sideboard more aggressively. We shall see,
Yeah, well, I mean, not to say
or at
that
least
his not to
mulligan
say
more
that his
aggressively.
mulligan would have been great, but keeping functional hands is a good start to a winning strategy, I would say. And it just sounded like
Yeah.
his hand was not functional without a second land,
No.
as most hands aren't.
Yeah. I guess he thought that being on the draw and having the spelunkers was going to be his way back into the game, or his way to sort of play his bombs that he had in hand. So he
Yeah,
got seduced by the
it's
bombs, right?
you keep two landers on the draw because you have three shots at hitting the third land, but when you have only two shots at hitting the second land, and then it becomes basically calamity, like you
Mm.
more or less. I'm not going to say he lost the game on the spot when he didn't hit the second land, but you know, close to that, like as close to that as you can get. It became
Let's use this
extremely,
occasion to. Oh,
became extremely unfavorable.
sorry, I'm going to suggest that we use this occasion in between matches to sort of talk about feature match culture. So I think that it's always going to be in the players' interests to get all their other matches out of the way before they take the stage, right? So I feel like the advantage bar is definitely on Kevin's side in that he's very, he's almost maxed out. Whereas, Paul, he could have had a wide array of punishment packs that he hasn't had access to essentially by not having, let's say, done his hygienic duty and gotten all of his other matches in before the feature. How do you feel about that, Richard?
I don't know. It's the first time anyone's ever discussed strategy about doing feature matches. At what point in the week you do your feature matches? But I mean, the general mentality has always been get your games in early, right? That's sort of been the consensus of like, if you're just trying to like game the system, just get your matches in early. The quality of decks that you'll be facing will probably be slightly lower because it'll be less packs than later in the week. But yeah, as far as As far as losses, they're at the same amount of losses, so they both have the access to the same number of cards. So they're kind of on even playing field in that respect. But we see Kevin's deck is pretty stacked to start with. Paul he has good cards in various colors, which means he has different viable builds, but probably none of them are going to be as consistent as it looks like Kevin's deck has been at least. But yeah, everybody has different strategies. We got the scramblers at the end of the week. We got the people who get it all done in one night. We get the people who stretch it out. I know myself. I always did. I always like doing just one match a day, just to keep myself tempered. You know.
Right. Yeah, it's true. Last week I did get a little bit tired. I got to say, double duty that last match and the feature match. I was tired, so I
by all means,
sympathize
you
with
just
your
played three
strategy.
matches. You got two matches coming up. You should be taking a nap right now, but you can blame Raphael for that one.
I will. I definitely will.
Good. He's one of our favorite scapegoats. You know. So
All right.
what's
So
going
what
on
we
in
have
Kevin's
over
side?
here,
Yeah. Ooh, good
well,
start.
paleontologist, obviously.
Very good start.
He follows it up with another swamp and join the dead. Watley's final strike, ravenous sailback, and finally a starving revenant.
Paul's
And
got
I think
no other sources of colored mana here aside from a swamp in hand. Um,
looks like sailback's going to get it from the skullcap snail, and he's drawn into a cavern stomper.
oh, this is a 3 mana 4/4, like turn 3/4/4 that could draw two cards. Yeah, I'm always tempted to just draw the cards, like take 6 damage. I can't turn down card draw, but this is getting already pretty bad for Paul without a green source. He has Malcolm in hand. He
Right.
has the Rampaging Spiketail. He has two green creatures.
Okay.
He has the Scampering Surveyor. So if he hits his land next turn, he gets to fix basically with the Surveyor, and he has another chance, which doesn't do anything right now. So
This is a blazing start for Kevin. This could be over before it even begins, right?
yeah, and he doesn't have any removal. Like Kevin didn't do anything this turn, which basically opens the door for Paul to like remove this 4/4 and possibly be like
Right.
okay. But
It's
he's
holding up Join the Dead and Final Strike, right?
yeah, he just has a swamp again now, so he's going to be able to cast a green card next turn, but it might be a little too late here.
Right.
I mean, just you know, turn two rare, which is a mana dork, into turn three rare that draws you two cards. Like your opponent is going to be
Yeah.
hard pressed, even with a reasonable start to the game, to keep up with that. And Paul did not have a reasonable start because he was missing his color. So even with
This
all of his
malicious
colors in
eclipse over
line,
on this side of the board.
I think Kevin would be ahead regardless, even if Paul drew his forest on time to play a River Herald Guide, which is the 3/1 that explores on turn three. Like he'd still be behind. So he's going to double block,
So we have
and it sounds like
malicious
he's going to get blown
eclipse
out here.
over here. We also have because he's gonna have some
I
fighting
mean, you
going
can
on
also
for
just let
sure.
it happen and just take the 4/1 here. He drew two cards and killed two creatures to call it a day.
I don't know. I think you want to keep that train going if you can, don't you?
No,
Evidently not.
I mean the 4/4 once it's in play, it doesn't do anything until you have Descend 8. So
Well, if you can recur it, that's another thing.
there you go, and a free 3/3. Why not? Yeah,
Jeez.
this like every time I play Walk with the Ancestors, I get my 2 mana pump spell with it or my Cosmium
Right.
Blast, and every time my opponent plays it, they just get a 4 drop. You know, like it feels unfair.
Mm, maybe he's taken out all those pumps and he's got heat in his deck.
Well, I was doing a draft the other day, and in all 3 rounds, my opponent played it. And every time they got a 4 drop creature to cast for free.
Mm.
Like you know, when you're playing a Gravedigger, you know that actually does something other than Gravedig. Like when it comes in, you know, it's pretty good. But when you're just getting a Cosmium Blast or some 1 drop or 2 drop, it just doesn't feel very good.
Here comes the strike finally. Is he gonna get blown out?
No, just Paul's got another chance here, so he can rebuy his creatures, but they're not really making much headway on the
Okay.
board here. He's got a Gold Vein pick as well that he didn't cast. I think he's just planning to cast the another chance, but anticipating that his creature may die. So here
Okay.
we
So
are.
now finally, right? We see that Kevin's got the life advantage as well as the onboard advantage.
Yeah, well, he went he traded 4/1 with that Revenant, which is just you know as good as it gets basically. So he's getting back two creatures not of much consequence here. Drawing the Skullspore Nexus is of no assistance at this time. Uh, Looks like he's just going to play Surveyor, play either Snail or Tendril of Myco Tyrant, and try and hang on here.
He's going to try to exile a card with his leftover mana.
No.
No.
No, it's Kevin that has the access to the exiling for 2 mana,
Oh, okay.
right? With the Paleontologist.
What's in his hand then? The black card I see revealed.
It's the snail, the little the
Yeah,
discard one.
that exiles a card from his hand, right?
Well, that'll do it. Okay. I mean, that was a. I mean, I'm not sure that was absolutely necessary. It was still like a 2 for 2, but Unsealed Necropolis.
Oh my god! Here comes Palani's
Does
Hatcher
he have the red or
and the Paleontologist.
does he have the red though?
He's got the Paleontologist, which I think can tap for mana, right?
Okay, so Paul needs something here. He doesn't have interaction in his hand. He's
He
drawing
can
kind of
also just
he's drawing a beefy creature here. This 5/4 trample vigilance. This worm.
that might slow the beats unless he
Yeah,
plays Join the Dead. Here we go. No, no,
yeah.
it's gone,
So you can do
and then
join the dead
he's gonna
and
play Paleontologist.
paleontologist here. So set up for the
That's him up for
hatcher.
Palani next turn.
Set up for
Yeah,
the hatcher to kind of nail this one down. We do get
yeah.
a little Malcolm action here coming in. We'll see if he can dig up
Oh,
an answer to all of this because he sees it coming. Right? It's staring him in the face. Like one rare in play, 2 rares in hand. Yeah, we see why Kevin where he's at here.
yeah. I guess Malcolm. I mean, Malcolm's gonna dig. I guess.
I
What
mean,
would you try to
he
do?
has
Kill the
to.
Paleontologist? You kill the Paleontologist. You lock up
I
the
think
Hatcher in the hand.
I think you need to try and find like he has a couple copies of Join the Dead and Huatley's Strike. I think he needs that to just
Okay.
answer the Hatcher before it even makes a 3/3, right? Like that's
Yeah.
kind of his only hope. He's just losing the game otherwise, like pretty
Yeah.
certainly. No, the Stalactite Stalker is not it. He can get that up to. Oh wait, I'm trying to think if he has enough mana. He has a Gold Vein pick. So Gold Vein pick plus Stalker plus it descending, but then the Stalker still costs 3 mana. I think he actually has enough mana here to play the Stalactite
I mean,
Stalker, equip a Gold Vein pick to it, and have it be 3 power to kill the Hatcher, but he'd still be taking 3 here.
I think that's a better play than spinning the wheel with the Caverns
He's
and
gonna
seeing what he
cast. It looks
gets.
like he's casting another chance here, huh? I feel like I kind of just would go for the Stalker play.
Mm.
I do believe he had enough mana. One, so it's 2 to play the Gold Vein pick and 1 to
Oh,
equip. It's 1 to
I
play the
think I know what he's
Stalactite
doing.
Stalker. Yeah.
He's trying to get his cards out of the graveyard while the Paleontologist is still tapped out or has no mana
I
available.
guess, but he needs to
I get,
live. He needs to live in order for any of that to matter.
yes, he does. That is true.
Yeah, I believe he. I could be mistaken, but I believe he would have exactly 7 mana to do what I said. Um, but he is getting some stuff out of the graveyard. Looks like he's gonna play Frog, and then probably the Snail.
What do? You play Snail here and hope he exiles the Hatcher?
Or he can leave up the
I don't know.
Death Touch, but then he leaves himself dead to some cheap removal. It's a tough one. He
Yeah,
got
right.
himself in a tough spot with keeping the hand of 2 swamps with a couple green cards. But the thing is, he didn't really have anything to do with that black mana early aside from playing a snail. Like he didn't have follow ups even
Right.
when he hit his swamps, which was unfortunate. Yeah, like when you have a hand where you need certain type of mana and stuff to do, it's getting pretty close to mulligan territory for me.
Yeah, I feel like the Hatcher's going to see the play here before he's got to play it before the Paleontologist gets killed by something. So I can't help but think he's going to play the Hatcher here. He just drew in the Zumi freewheeler, so it's
Which one's that
possible
one? Is that I think that was from Mom, right?
from Kamigawa. Oh, is it from?
Is it a
It is from Mom.
is it
Yeah.
the transform card? Yeah.
It is the
I
transform
mean,
card.
these
Yep.
attacks are pretty straightforward. Like, Paul has no actual viable blocks here that are good. Like, he played 2/1/1s.
Yep.
So, not sure what the plan is going forward for next turn.
I don't suppose he's holding a board wipe.
No, he's drawn a Tithing Blade, which is about as poor a draw as you can get here. You know, I like my Tithing Blades on turn 2. That's when I like them. That's it.
Yeah,
which means
here,
which
what are you
means I
doing?
don't like the card that much.
You're popping an egg, I guess, at best.
That's,
Um,
that's let's see. I mean, he can dig for a card here, but he's at 3 with all the threats in the world against him here.
yeah, this is not looking good.
Yeah, I mean, look, Hatcher's just a silly card, and we saw Paul stumble with the color issues, so he was going to be up against it here. We see the power of Kevin's deck. We see why he's doing so well.
Mm-hmm. We do. I mean, didn't even need to replay the Revenant, right? Had it more card advantage. Still had a Cavern Stomper. Had a backup for the tower.
Yeah,
Had a second copy of that,
and
and then Nezumi. So
this is as sad as you get. Tithing Blade.
popping the egg, I think. Yeah, there we go. Pop the egg as predicted,
Yeah,
but it does nothing
he could
really.
play a 5/4 here, but I mean, any dinosaur in it, he's dead, right? Like you just play Cavern Stomper, it has haste. Attack
That is
all.
true.
Attack all. They're all 3 power minimum, and the game's done. He did
But
not.
instead, we're playing the freewheeler.
Okay. Like
uh,
yeah, I think I just like
maybe
playing
he
the Cavern
maybe
Stomper
he missed the haste.
puts him dead on board, right? Just 6
Maybe he
mana. It
missed the
has
haste.
haste.
Yeah, but
Um,
he possibly forgot that the thing had haste or
Yeah,
was
I think
given
people
haste
are
by the
just
hatch.
like, yeah, it could be like Polani's Hatcher. People just think like, oh, the tokens I make have haste, but that's it. Like, they jump
Right.
out of the egg, but
Exactly.
like nothing else gets. It's a bit.
So it could be a little bit
There's
of
a big text box. Okay.
could be some card blindness going on there.
Yeah. So looks like he's passed a block to stay alive here.
Yeah. No benefit to the poison frog at this point.
I mean, it's 2 chumps
The frog has to jump.
and a win here in combat against the 3/3. But I mean, Kevin's given Paul another draw, which I mean, kind of he's given him 2 looks at something because Malcolm's still there.
Paul here,
So
do you take out the fungus and get rid of? I think you let the 3/3 token live, right? Kill the fungus instead.
not sure. He's drawn another Tithing Blade, which is definitely not going to do it. Says, do I have a board wipe? I'll find out. Well, I guess we'll all find out at the same time here. Kevin just says, let me not die randomly to a pump spell. Draws an island. He guesses he can discover, and then we will be seeing a victory for Kevin, unless we find something very specific here.
Yeah.
Well, that's not
What,
going to
Wrath
be
of
it.
God? Wrath of God. You need
I mean, if he played
to
that,
do
if he did
four
that
mana spell.
pre-combat, he'd have an extra attack, but he still wouldn't be able to get in for lethal here. So with I mean, regardless of
It's
a
got to be
dinosaur coming
Caverns.
down and having haste, the
Yeah.
trample was just gonna win anyway. The trample from the seething tower over there, but we see the Cavern Stomper come.
Yeah.
So could have done it last turn, but is doing it this turn, and we see these very powerful dinosaurs coming and taking the game here for Kevin. So congratulations to Kevin on the win, and York, we'll see you in a bit here, going on the other side of the announce booth to
Yeah.
play in our next 2 matches. So good luck in that,
I'll be on the gallows next.
and we'll see
GG's,
everybody.
Kevin.
We'll see everybody.
Good game, Paul.